All right, welcome to our deep dive, all about how to totally crush that milling machine operator interview.
Yeah, we're going to get you feeling super confident and ready to impress.
Exactly. And we've got some awesome resources to help us out today.
Oh, yeah,
We've got a career guide, an interview guide, and even some cool info on RoleCatcher's AI platform.
definitely.
But before we get into all that, let's break down what a milling machine operator actually does.
Well, think of it like this. You're like an artist,
I like that.
but instead of clay or paint, you're shaping metal.
Right.
You're cutting, drilling, and shaping all these different pieces to make stuff like engine parts, medical devices, all sorts of things.
I was reading in the career guide, it sounds like this job needs a good mix of technical know-how and problem-solving skills.
Oh, for sure. It's not just pushing buttons. You have to really understand how different metals work, how the machines operate.
You got to be able to think on your feet.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get into some interview questions that you might encounter.
All right, let's do it.
The first one you'll probably hear is explain your experience operating milling machines.
Okay, so how do you answer that without just listing off your past jobs?
Well, you got to tell a story.
You got like that?
Don't just say you ran this machine for X number of years. Talk about some cool projects, what were some challenges you had to overcome, stuff like that.
Make it interesting.
Exactly. Maybe you had to find a creative solution to a problem, or you exceeded expectations on a tough project. That's the kind of stuff that makes you stand out.
That's a great point. Okay, what about this question? What types of milling machines have you operated before?
Yeah, that's a big one. Honestly, is key here.
Right.
Don't try to BS your way through it. If you don't know a particular machine, just be upfront, but say you're willing to learn.
And I bet it helps to do your homework on the company too, right?
Absolutely. Check out their website, see what kind of products they make, what kind of machines they use.
Shows you're interested.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk materials. What materials have you worked with when operating milling machines? How do you answer this one and that makes you stand out?
Well, instead of just listing off materials, talk about how they're different to work with. Like,
Right.
aluminum needs high cutting speeds, stainless steel is super durable, show them you understand the details.
Yeah, makes sense.
You could even mention specific examples like how you adjusted your cutting parameters to prevent warping apart, or chose a certain type of coolant to stop things from overheating.
Those little details make a big difference.
For sure. All right, here's another important one. How do you ensure the accuracy and quality of milled parts?
Oh yeah, accuracy is super important in this field.
Absolutely. This is where you talk about your process, how you set up the machine, choose the right tools, monitor things, do inspections.
Like a checklist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to get specific. Mention the tools you use, like micrometers or calipers, even non-destructive testing methods.
Show them you know your stuff.
Right. Okay, ready for a challenging one? Describe a time you faced a challenging milling project.
Ooh, this is where you can really show your problem-solving skills.
You got it. This is your time to shine. Pick a project that really put your skills to the test. And remember the STAR method.
STAR method.
Yeah. Situation, task, action, result. It's a great way to structure your answer.
Okay, so I'd start by describing the situation, then explain the task, the actions I took to solve it, and the positive result.
Perfect. Choose a story that highlights your strengths, something where you had to think outside the box, be creative.
I like that. Now, we all know safety is super important in a machine shop, right?
Absolutely. It's non-negotiable.
So how should someone answer the question, what safety protocols do you follow when operating milling machines?
This is all about showing them you're serious about safety, that you know the rules. Talk about wearing your PPE, lockout procedures, keeping a clean work area, all that good stuff.
The interview guide has a whole list of those, right?
It does, and if you've had any specific safety training, definitely mention that too.
Shows you're committed.
Absolutely. Now, before we move on to more interview questions, I wanted to highlight something cool from the career guide.
Oh yeah, what's that?
It talks about all the different ways you can grow your career in this field.
I love that.
You can move into management, specialize in a certain type of machine, or even focus on a specific industry.
Lots of options.
There are. And continuous learning is super important too. Staying up to date with the latest technologies.
Absolutely. Always be learning. All right, back to those interview questions.
Okay, here's one that focuses on your technical skills. How do you maintain and troubleshoot milling machines?
This is your chance to show off your knowledge.
You got it. Talk about routine maintenance tasks like lubrication, cleaning, tool replacement, and then give them some examples of how you've solved problems in the past.
Like that time I fixed the spindle vibration.
Exactly. Those real-world examples really show them what you're capable of.
Okay, what about software and computer skills?
Oh yeah, those are important too, especially with CNC machining becoming so popular.
So what's the best way to answer a question like, what software and computer skills do you have for operating milling machines?
First, look at the job description and make sure your skills match up.
Right.
Then be honest about your experience level with different software programs. And if you've taken any online courses or tutorials, mention those too.
Shows you're proactive.
Exactly. Now, speaking of CNC, here's a question you might get. What is your experience with CNC milling machines?
I bet a lot of employers want people with CNC experience.
Yeah, it's becoming a standard in the industry.
So what if someone doesn't have a lot of experience with CNC machines?
Well, even if you haven't worked on them a ton, you can still talk about any training you've had
Woof.
or any projects where you used CNC. Be honest about your experience level, but also show that you're eager to learn more.
Make it a positive.
Right. Now, the last interview question we'll talk about is, what improvements have you made to milling processes in previous roles?
This one sounds like a chance to really highlight those problem-solving skills.
It is. Think of examples where you identified a problem, came up with a solution, and actually made things better.
Measurable results.
Exactly. Did you reduce setup time, increase production output? Talk about the impact you had.
That's a great tip. Okay, before we move on, I want to talk about something that can give you a real edge in your interview prep.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
RoleCatcher's AI platform.
Oh, that's a good one.
It can actually help you tailor your answers and get feedback to make sure you're nailing it.
It's like having your own personal interview coach.
I love that. So how does it work?
Well, RoleCatcher uses AI to look at tons of job descriptions and interview questions, so it figures out exactly what employers are looking for.
Wow, that's smart.
Yeah. And then it gives you tips on how to show off your skills and experience in the best possible way.
It's like having a secret weapon. And it also gives feedback on your answers, right?
It does. You can practice answering questions, and RoleCatcher will tell you what you're doing well and where you could improve.
That's incredible. It's
Yeah.
like having a mock interview with personalized feedback.
Exactly. And you can even practice through video, so you can get feedback on your delivery and body language.
Wow, that's amazing. I wish I had that when I was interviewing.
It's a game changer for sure.
Yeah.
It can really help you stand out from the crowd.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground so far, but we're not done yet. We've got more great insights and tips coming up in part 2 of this deep dive.
Oh, yeah, we'll be back.
Stay tuned.
We're going to help you really nail that interview.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of technical stuff,
Yeah.
but I'm guessing there's more to being a great milling machine operator than just knowing how to run the machines.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Technical skills are just the start.
Right.
You also need to be reliable, you know?
Show up on time, do the work.
Exactly. And you got to be detail-oriented. Those measurements have to be precise.
Absolutely. And I think problem solving is huge too, right?
So, definitely. Things don't always go smoothly in a machine shop.
Right.
You got to be able to think on your feet, figure out what's wrong, and get things back on track.
Like a machine detective.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And of course, we can't forget about safety.
Yeah, that's got to be top priority.
It is. You have to show the interviewer that you take safety seriously, that you're following protocols, keeping things clean and organized.
It's all about creating a safe work environment for everyone.
Exactly. Okay, so we were talking about those interview questions.
Yeah, how to show that you're a problem solver.
Right. One thing you can do is talk about times when you went above and beyond.
Okay, like what?
Well, maybe you spotted a bottleneck in the production process and found a way to fix it.
Or maybe you took the initiative to learn a new software program to improve your work.
Exactly. That shows you're always looking for ways to make things better.
I like that. Now, I know the Q&A part at the end of an interview can be kind of nerve-wracking for some people,
Yeah.
but it's actually a great chance for you to ask some questions too.
It is. It shows that you're engaged, that you're thinking ahead.
And it helps you figure out if the company is a good fit for you.
Absolutely. So what kind of questions should you ask?
Well, you could ask about the types of projects the company is working on.
Yeah, it's a good one. It shows you've done your research.
And maybe ask about opportunities for professional development, like training programs or chances to move up in the company.
Oh, that's a great idea. It shows you're ambitious, that you want to learn and grow.
Exactly. And you can also ask about the company culture, what it's like to work there.
Yeah, that's important too. You want to make sure it's a place where you'll be happy and feel valued.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground with those interview questions. Now I want to circle back to RoleCatcher for a minute.
Oh, yeah, that AI platform.
It's seriously amazing. It can really help you tailor your answers and get feedback so you know you're on the right track.
It's like having a personal interview coach in your pocket.
I know, right? So
Yeah.
can you remind us how it works?
Sure. RoleCatcher uses artificial intelligence to analyze all sorts of job descriptions and interview questions. It figures out what employers are looking for in specific roles, like a milling machine operator.
It's like it knows the secret code.
Haha, kinda. And then it gives you personalized tips on how to showcase your skills and experience.
That's so cool. And it can also give you feedback on your answers, right?
It can. You can practice answering questions through text or even video, and RoleCatcher will give you feedback on your content, your delivery, everything.
So it's a mock interview, but with super smart AI giving you pointers.
Exactly. And the more you practice, the more confident you'll feel going into that real interview.
That's so true. Confidence is key.
It is. Now, before we wrap up, I want to emphasize something really important.
Right.
All this information we've been talking about, it's great.
Yeah.
But it's only useful if you actually use it.
You got to put in the work.
Exactly. So take some time to review that job description, research the company, practice your answers, use RoleCatcher,
Do your homework.
Exactly. The more prepared you are, the more confident you'll feel, and that will show during the interview.
And remember, the interview isn't a two-way street.
Oh, that's a good point.
You're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you.
Right. Ask good questions, be engaged, and trust your gut feeling.
If it feels like a good fit, it probably is.
And if it doesn't, that's okay too. There are lots of great opportunities out there.
You'll find the right one. Yeah, it's like they can see that spark in you when you're talking about something you love.
Totally. It's authentic, and employers pick up on that.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's like the one big takeaway you want listeners to remember when they're prepping for that interview?
I'd say just remember, you've got this.
You've got this.
We've gone through so much today, talked about the job, the questions, and even RoleCatcher.
Yeah, RoleCatcher is a game changer for sure.
It is. So use those tools, practice those answers, and just go in there and be yourself.
Be yourself. That's important.
And, don't be afraid to show your passion for machining. That's what's going to make you stand out.
Let that enthusiasm shine through.
Exactly. And remember, the interview is a two-way street.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point.
It's a chance for you to check them out, too, see if it's a good fit for you.
Ask questions, get a feel for the company culture.
Exactly. Trust your gut feeling. If it feels right, it probably is.
And if it doesn't,
then on to the next one. There are so many opportunities out there for skilled machinists.
That's so true. So to everyone listening out there, take a deep breath, believe in yourself, and go get that job.
We're cheering you on.
That's it for our deep dive on acing that milling machine operator interview. Thanks for joining us, and good luck out there.